Hey you guys, this is Yolanda from Yology Holistic Wellness. I'm making this video to kind of give an explanation about Kundalini awakening, what exactly it pertains to, how it's significant, and the matter of difference of opinions that are out there. So for those of you who are not familiar with Kundalini, Kundalini is a dormant energy that resides at the base of the spine. Majority of our lives until due to spiritual practices or a healing crisis, which sometimes can be trauma, opens it up and creates an arising, which can be felt like a surge of energy that kind of like goes up. Some people say it feels very energetic. Some people says it feels like other things. It's just a matter of the person's experience itself. So the Kundalini awakening is basically that surge of energy that rises at the base of the spine to the crown. And what it does is it actually helps us to unlock the higher states of consciousness, helping us to connect with our higher self. And so when a person goes through a Kundalini awakening, their senses may become more intensified. This Kundalini awakening is usually the soul's reminder of like what our life mission is. It connects us with our unique gifts. It helps us to build our intuition, and because it's bringing us into a higher and deeper state of expanded consciousness, right? And so when people are experiencing Kundalini awakenings, they may experience physical symptoms within the body, but they may also experience emotional stuff as well. As kind of like the body, is a vessel, and so you have this surge of energy that's just like busting out, like trying to like woo, and so the body can sometimes go through physical symptoms with that because it's not familiar with that energy, so it may flare up with different things, or which can create things like anxiety, panic attacks, if you're not familiar with it, or if you're not used to it or aware of it. There's a lot of different opinions about pros and cons of Kundalini. A lot of gurus say that you shouldn't try to open your Kundalini too soon if you're not ready for it, as it can lead you down a downward spiral. Some others say it's beautiful, light, and love, but I'm here to tell you that it goes both ways because of the different effects that it has on the body. So if you're already a natural empath, but you have a lot of recent trauma situations that you've just incurred, I would not recommend opening or trying to tap into your Kundalini, because your senses can like actually go on sensory overload. It can induce that anxiety, that fear, the panic attacks, the confusion and stuff like that, because you're not only already like feeling it, but that feeling becomes intensified. And so when we have a Kundalini awakening, that energy is going through all 7 chakras. It's going to fully activate and clear them. And so if you're a person who is, if you also another person who has overactivity within a high amount of chakras, if you create that influx of energy, it could like really overactivate those chakras, which can also lead to a Kundalini experience that is not quite so great. I'm all about Kundalini energy and like having awakenings, but there are a lot of things that some people don't realize that has to be known on the surface before you can dig deep. Another reason why most teachers say that Kundalini awakenings can be detrimental if you're not ready for it is not just because of those physical qualities, but also because of like trauma qualities. And so that would like emotional, which is like shadow work. So if you're a person who hasn't done their shadow work, or you haven't fully learned to integrate that shadow work, or shadow work is just something sensitive that is a touchy subject for you because you're not quite ready to step into that line of self-healing, then I would definitely recommend like finding a teacher or just like taking your time if you're trying to tap into your Kundalini, because Kundalini is it does, you know, correspond with that shadow work, because when we're having a Kundalini awakening, it's usually because our soul is trying to like tell us, hey, this is what needs to be worked on, this is what needs to be processed, this is, you know, something that we have to clear in order to reach that next step of you know, ascension, right? And so sometimes with those awakenings, your emotions can be over the top because there is likely shadow work that you haven't worked on, that needs to be dealt with. Because remember, when we reach higher states of consciousness, connecting with our higher self, we are more aware, which makes us more sensitive to not just our own energies with that experience, but also with others that are around us, because shadow work also pertains to triggers. And so if you're not familiar with those triggers, it can lead you down the rabbit hole. When you're on the path to Kundalini awakening, you're essentially inviting cosmic energy to flow through you. It's like a spotlight, and when it is the spotlight, it is like the spotlight for all your hidden suppressed emotion and experiences. Kundalini awakening can be a profound journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth. However, it's important to understand that when you do, you go in with caution, and that, you know, some of the symptoms that you're feeling could be because of certain things like overactive chakras, empath sensitivity, or shadow work. So those are two things to identify with. So if you're a person who's like been traumatized 7 days ago or 3 months ago, I would say maybe, you know, look for a teacher or take your time. Don't dip into it all the way. But if you're someone who's kind of like familiar with energy and that, you know, you feel comfortable with it, then by all means, you know, still take your time, but develop those practices. And remember, not everyone is going to have an answer for your Kundalini awakening. The Kundalini awakening, the answer for that resides within you, because when we go through a Kundalini awakening, we are mastering thyself. It is about getting to know thyself, connecting with the higher self, and just increasing that to further the step of ascension. So I hope you guys enjoy that. Peace out. Love and light.